Welcome everyone to our webinar, Power Your Job Board with AI. Thank you for joining us today. We have over 400 attendees registered from 6 continents, so thank you to all of those of you who've got up early to join us. I hope you've all had a cup of coffee already, and a big thank you to everybody it's probably very late in your day. So thank you again for joining us. I know we have a lot of JobGate Network members listening today, but for those of you that don't know me, my name's Louise Grant from JobGate, and we're excited to co-host the webinar alongside Google today. I'm delighted to be joined by Jennifer Sue, who's the product manager on the cloud team at Google. Her focus is using statistics, machine learning to build solutions to connect job seekers to relevant jobs via Google's Job Talent Cloud Solution product. And I know she's working very closely with the talent industry to improve job matches and discoverability of jobs. So welcome, Jen.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No, it's great to have you here. So just before we get started, there's just a couple of things to run through for everybody who's attending the webinar. First of all, please be aware that you're all in listen-only mode. It doesn't mean we don't want you to participate. So there are a couple of ways for you to get involved. We asked many of you to submit questions at the beginning of when you registered for the webinar, so that we can consider those questions and hopefully cover it during Jen's presentation, or we may get to answer some of those questions at the end of the sessions. But you'll see via the webinar that you can actually also submit questions today, and we will do our best to try and get to questions, but obviously we have strong attendance today, and so we may not get to them all, but the Google Cloud team will follow up with you after the webinar to answer as many of those questions as they can. The session is also being recorded, so we will follow up with an email which will send you a link to the recording, because I know some people won't be able to watch live now, so that link will go out to everybody. You can watch at your own time and convenience, and we also have included a post-event survey there, so we'd like your feedback as well on the webinar today. So, and finally, an apology for my very croaky voice. Luckily, it managed to survive my little intro. Thankfully, it's Jen doing all the speaking today, and not me. So over to a more healthy Jen, and over to you.
Thank you, Louise. First of all, I want to thank everyone for joining. We have folks from all over the world, from Spain, UK, India, Japan, and our friendly neighbors in Canada. It's a pleasure to have such a global audience, and I want to make the most of your time. So let's get started. Today, I want to share how we're using AI to help job boards overcome some of the challenges in job matching. In terms of the labor market, trends are going up and to the right. More jobs were added, and more people are participating in the labor force. Last month's release from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics showed that 304,000 new jobs were added. That's a 36% lift compared to the monthly average from 2018. The labor force participation rate and employment population ratio measures were up by 0.5 percentage points over the year. This means that all these people and employers, not only in the US, but globally, needs to be connected. The good news is, in a recent survey, nearly half of recent hires found their current role through an online job board. Yet we've learned from job boards and members of this community that candidate volume is still top of mind. There are two main buckets: lack of candidates and, as you know, quality of applicants. One could argue that there's an abundance of resources competing for candidate interest. But more likely is the combination of low unemployment rates that may cause more people to be passive in their job search, and the skills needed, where 45% of American employers cannot find the people with the right skills to fill higher paying occupations. In this situation where employers want to give economic opportunities to people, but they can't find those with the skills they need. This is what economists are describing as a tight labor market. So the challenge is really the quality and the quantity of those applicants. It requires ushering new and expanding workforce and really looking at improving the candidate experience. Job boards are in a unique position to have an incredible impact because they touch a large number of employers and candidates. I am on the cloud team, where we build solutions to help businesses achieve their goals. After spending time with experts like yourselves in the field, I want to share what we've learned and how we can help your business. Today, we'll talk about ways to improve the quality of candidates on your site by attracting a broader range of high-quality talent so that your customers can fill their open jobs. Features that will engage passive candidates so that they consistently come back to your site. And how Google Cloud can support the growth of your job board so you can expand into new markets and focus your engineering team higher in the stack. And finally, we'll wrap up on how you can get started for free. First, let's talk about ways to improve the quality of candidates on your site. Cloud Talent Solution is a set of APIs using machine learning to better understand job content and job seeker intent. Candidates get matched to their ideal jobs faster, and employers attract and convert higher quality candidates. At the core is a neural network to understand jobs, companies, people, skills, and education. You can think of it as a two-sided matching engine that takes in a resume or other forms of candidate profile and a job description, and runs through a set of algorithms to determine if they are a match or not. It's all about understanding the semantics around people and the semantics around jobs, and using the power of machine learning to make the best matches possible. Here's an example of how Cloud Talent Solution understands a job seeker's query on your site. Let's look at VP BizDev WA Australia. There's a lot going on here, so let's unpack this. VP is a seniority level that's commonly used in the US for vice president. In this case, it's actually not common to see VP in Australia, but it still understands the signal that the candidate is interested in executive roles that would not be interested in junior roles. BizDev is an abbreviation of job title, business development. This means the person is looking for all job content related to the profession, and all possible variants needs to be returned. So the candidate is not missing out on any available jobs on your site. WA Australia is a region and acronym for Western Australia. This includes much of the outback, but also contains Perth and all the way to Broome, a port city in the north. All these signals are important to capture. Here, the job seeker's query from your site is sent into Cloud Talent Solution, where the neural networks understands and captures the job seeker's intent and returns all relevant jobs. Today, companies such as CareerBuilder and College Recruiter are using the service and reporting significant gains. College Recruiter is a job board in the US. They help employers to hire students and recent graduates for a wide range of entry-level roles. This also includes part-time, seasonal work, and internships. Tens of thousands of employers advertise over 1 million jobs on College Recruiter. So it's critical for them to have a quality job search to quickly provide candidates with the most relevant results. Since integrating with our API, they saw both a reduction in costs and a better candidate experience with a 225% increase in applies and a 20% lift in search to job detail page clicks. The result is higher quality and quantity of applicants to their customers who are hiring. I know what you're thinking. How does relevance improvements impact my revenue goals? We also understand that there are important considerations to support your business. Featured jobs and custom ranking are built-in flexibility to support handling those priorities. Featured jobs promotes specific jobs to the top for your customers. This is used on Google's own career site. And for those roles, we've seen an uplift of nearly 50 times as many impressions in search and more than 4 times as many applications, while continuing to deliver high-quality candidates. Custom ranking was built to address your specific priorities. It allows you to introduce your own business logic to control the ranking of jobs returned. The most common use case is taking into account cost per click. The way it works is you can place a value on certain jobs and add a custom ranking expression to the search request. Cloud Talent Solution determines the relevant jobs to the query and takes into account custom ranking expressions. This way, it gives you control of balancing cost per click and click-through rates. Now that we've talked about improving the quality of candidates, let's talk about how to engage them where they are so that they return to your site. In a recent survey, job alerts continue to be the most effective traffic source for recruiting sites, regardless of the location or type, where 61% of job seekers find automatic job alerts helpful. This is particularly true for candidates that are not necessarily actively looking for a job, but might be inclined to apply for one if the right circumstances arise. Cloud Talent Solution offers a search API that's tuned to the needs of these passive job seekers, where the content of the email campaign can be populated with periodic updates of jobs. In other words, it can be restricted to the set of jobs to those posted since the last alert was generated. The functionality lets you reach the candidate in their inbox so that they can engage when the timing is right. Here's an example of a job alert to engage candidates and bring them back to your site. The job alert is for Java developer jobs in San Francisco, California. This is a simple API call where you set the configuration search mode for alerts. The feature allows you to set the number of jobs by adjusting the page size. And as I mentioned earlier, restricted to the set of jobs to those posted since the last alert was generated. In this example, the email was populated with 3 new jobs since last month. This way, the candidate will only see new information at the time when they're ready. CareerBuilder is a global job board. For their millions of users, CareerBuilder saw a significant gain for their job alerts powered by Cloud Talent Solution. They reported a 15% lift in users viewing jobs from automated job alerts and a 41% jump in actions taken from saved search alerts. And as you know, this is all about reaching candidates where they are. So aside from job alerts, mobile-friendly features are another way to engage candidates. Autocomplete provides auto-suggestions for job titles and offers autocomplete job titles within a given company. This really customizes to your business because it will only suggest job titles where active job postings and companies with at least one open job are considered eligible for the suggestions. That way, in the case of a retail job board, a candidate will only see active retail jobs in the autocomplete. So on your site, a candidate can simply select from a drop-down list of job titles after typing in only a few characters in the search bar. We also have spell checking that returns the corrected results, which I think goes a long way without saying is critical in mobile. Mobile writing has 5 times as many mistakes than desktop writing, so you can imagine how useful spell checking is. On the right in this example is a spelling mistake for bartender, where it ends with AR instead of ER. Normally, this would return with 0 results because it doesn't understand it, but in this experience, it's much more forgiving, and it returned the corrected results. Another area is getting information and the right information for candidates to increase the applications. We've developed a feature called Smart Text Snippets. Smart Text Snippets automatically generates snippets from the job descriptions. It surfaces relevant information for the user in the search results, so candidates don't have to click through the job detail page, and so by seeing the highlighted keywords earlier, it entices the user to convert. Take a look at this query for sales manager. On the left, the first job contains a long job description that describes a team and nothing about the role itself. On the right, that very same job has a smart text snippet. It surfaces and highlights information in the job description that's relevant for the user. This also saves time in the overhead on writing job summaries. And for job boards, this means you don't have to ask your clients for this. Another benefit is the consistent format for display. Job postings and feeds come from many different sources for job boards. This means that the job content itself is fairly inconsistent. So a standardized format for display will make your designers happy. The smart text snippets also allows you to maximize real estate on the screen. This is particularly true for mobile. In this case, on the left, there are 2 jobs, but on the right, with smart text snippets, there are 3 jobs. The benefit is to get more eyes on all the jobs you have available on your site to increase the applies. This can be used for both a web page and it's particularly impactful for mobile, as you see in this example. Another factor that's important for candidates is commute. A large portion of job seekers consider commute time as a top factor in looking for a job. The keywords are commute time. For those of you who have ever visited Los Angeles, traffic is horrible on the 405 freeway. It will take you nearly 2 hours to go 10 miles or 16 kilometers. And that means in traffic for 4 hours a day, which is equivalent to your working hours spent sitting in a car half the time and not actually working or getting paid for it. So it makes sense that across various surveys regarding the subject, a little less than half said commute would make them more likely to submit a job application. And 85% of professionals say they would take a pay cut for a shorter commute. Commute time overall makes a job more appealing. To engage this large portion of candidates, you can leverage Cloud Talent Solutions' commute search functionality. Commute search enables candidates to find roles by actual commute times rather than just distance. It has a tight integration with Google Maps that gives us the deep understanding of commute. Commute search takes into account the traffic conditions, so roads such as highways and transit lines, traffic times such as rush hour and where mornings or evenings may differ. For example, 15 minutes on the road in San Francisco's downtown can get you through only 10 blocks at 9 a.m. But the same 15 minutes can get you from downtown across the Bay Bridge and into Oakland at 9 p.m. The way commute search works is a job search request can include a commute time filter that restricts the jobs returned to those within a specified travel time from a starting point. Results include the estimated commute time for matched jobs. All these considerations form the asymmetrical shape you see on the map, and it's no longer just a flat radius of distance. Commute search can be leveraged to engage candidates that value commute time on your site. Now that we've talked about ways that we can help you improve the quality and quantity of those candidates, let's talk about how Cloud Talent Solution can support your growth and innovation. Built on the advances that Google has made in neuro-machine translation, employers and job seekers can use Cloud Talent Solution around the world. We support more than 100 languages in our product. So for our audience members from Spain, Germany, India, Japan, and the UK, this includes commonly spoken languages such as Spanish, German, Hindi, Punjabi, Bengali, Japanese, and Welsh for our friends in the UK. Right-to-left scripts are also supported, such as Arabic and Hebrew. We also have global data centers, ensuring you can have super fast results anywhere in the world. This is especially true for global companies such as Siemens, who has locations in more than 200 countries and counting. We want to support global businesses and speed up your ability to move into new markets. Google Cloud AI continuously learns, so over time, the quality improves without you doing any additional work. I've been a data scientist for over a decade, and people tend to forget the notion of continuously tuning a model and pushing new models when it's necessary. Otherwise, you'll see lower than expected quality over time. Not to mention, all this requires pushing it to production that needs to be optimized for processing time. The benefit of leveraging software as a service allows you to free up technical maintenance, so you don't have to consistently maintain a set of models, and saves you resourcing time from data scientists and engineers. Another added benefit is our models will take into account the audience on your property. The user behavioral data provides a feedback loop that will help improve results and customize further to your property. In other words, the model takes into account signals from user behavior that's specific to your site, where the search results will change for a given tenant. And in an overly simplified example, is if there are many applicants or job views for a particular job, the ranking will adjust to boost the job higher. What all this means is that the added benefit of improvements without you doing any additional work. So we've talked a bit about the results College Recruiter has seen earlier. But a big piece we did not discuss has been their time savings on the development side. Prior to Cloud Talent Solution, engineers at College Recruiter were constantly spending time adjusting algorithms and fixing bugs to support search. We all know how valuable developer time can be, and this was taking away from their ability to work on other client-facing projects. Since moving to Cloud Talent Solution, College Recruiter no longer needs to spend time improving their search. It's doing that on its own. Their development team is now able to focus on work that's much higher in the tech stack and has been bringing critical projects to completion much faster. And for product managers like myself, this means saving more than an entire sprint in the roadmap each year. For job boards and sites that also has the ability for employers to search for candidates, we also have profile search. Recruiters and sourcers can find the right candidates faster through an optimized search. For instance, a search for front-end engineer will deliver relevant candidate results with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript skills. So there's no need for the complex Boolean searches often used today. Profile search is still in a private beta program, but please reach out on our website if you're interested in learning more. We're also exploring new functionalities such as job and profile recommendations, which will help job seekers, recruiters, hiring managers, employees, and others find the jobs and candidates that they might have not otherwise discovered. All of this is made available through a set of APIs. That means you can get Google's machine learning capabilities in the talent space without actually needing to do any of the machine learning yourself. To summarize, we've talked about improving the quality with Google Cloud AI with flexible customizations. Increase the quality of applicants by engaging candidates with job alerts, mobile-friendly features such as smart text snippets, and Commute search. And how Cloud Talent Solutions supports your growth and innovation with continuous model improvements, language support, and global data centers, all of which you get out of the box. Now let's talk about how you can get started for free. Cloud Talent Solution is priced monthly based on usage at a query level. This means the volume is based on the number of search requests sent to the API. You will only be charged for the search queries that you use. Our service provides up to 10,000 job search requests per month for free. Every month, we will take that volume into account. So if you have less than 10,000 queries per month, then the entire month is free. Beyond that, we have pricing tiers that depends on your query volume. Our goal with this flexible pricing model is we want to take into account that different job boards have different volumes. So in this case, a job board that has 100,000 queries a month minus the 10 that you already get for free, the cost is only 90,000 queries, which is only $270 a month. This includes the benefits from the availability of global data centers to reduce latency, leveraging location resolution that most job search calls are already paying for, and a translation service with over 100 languages supported. All these services would otherwise have been paid for either individually or through multiple API calls. Aside from the pure dollar costs, there's also the benefit of a reduction in maintenance with the elegance of a single solution to support your search needs. If you have any questions, reach out to cloudtalentsolution@google.com. Our team is on the other end, and we will respond in 48 hours. Now, I'll go over the high-level steps on an implementation. Using the Google Client Library, which is available in a number of languages such as Java, Python, and Go, you can access the API directly or implement through a custom connector either through REST or an RPC interface. The first step is to start by sending a list of jobs and companies into the API. Once it's connected to your database, Cloud Talent Solution then analyzes and indexes the jobs and companies into a searchable form. To maximize the value of Cloud Talent Solution, the second step is to send your client event data to the API. This is done by sending structured messages to Cloud Talent Solution that captures the job seeker's reaction to results based on their queries, so that the model begins to refine the search results to your specific site. This improves your job search model by evaluating how job seekers interact with your job postings. And now you're ready to use the pre-trained machine learning models on your site. And finally, you can integrate with our solution by going to cloud.google.com/talent-solution. From our experience with working with customers through the integration, depending on the complexity of your site, setting up takes about a day. And for more complex stacks, it can be up to 2 weeks. To get started, the link goes to our documentation with various guides to help get up and running quickly. There's also a link to the Google Cloud Platform console from the documentation page. So from there, you'll be able to access our self-service tools that enables customers to onboard to Cloud Talent Solution and to debug the system without needing to reach out to Google Cloud's support team. But don't worry, the page also contains links to contact support or sales if you have any questions. We'll also be following up early next week with an email on how to get started as well. And now I'll hand it over to Luis.
Thank you, Jen. That's great. Sorry, I was just getting my voice back there. Yes, thank you very much. That's really interesting. I think you've covered a lot of the questions that we've had, either that have coming through live or that we had pre-event. But just to kind of make everybody aware, the Google Cloud team will be joining us in Denver in June. So if you would like to meet the team face to face and chat through the options that Jen has run through there, come and join us in Denver, or they will also be with us at the summit in London as well in November. So plenty of opportunity to actually get to meet some of the team from the Google Cloud. Okay, so we've got a little bit of time for some questions, Jen. So hopefully I won't grill you too much. But so you mentioned at the end there, in terms of integration, if you've got a really small team, realistically, how much time would it take for a small engineering team to do the work to integrate with you?
So it really depends on the complexity of your property. If you're a large job board who has a more complex system with a legacy stack, it may take a couple of weeks. But for the vast majority of sites, our support team has an optimized process to get you running quickly. So it also means that most companies with even small teams should be able to get running with at least a solution within a day.
Okay, so that's quick, isn't it? That's great. Okay, so next question I had from an ATS actually. My company is an ATS. Can I use this solution for my clients' career sites?
The short answer is yes. We have a number of recruiting software companies as clients. So this includes ATSs like yourself, job boards, and staffing agencies. Cloud Talent Solution can power many different use cases. And in this example, an ATS or recruiting technology vendor can integrate the API into your client's career sites. And for job boards looking to leverage a search service to increase conversion rates on your site, or a developer looking to build a job search functionality into your platform.
Okay, it's interesting because I know a lot of the job boards these days are starting to offer career sites to their clients. So that's another option for the job boards as well as the ATSs. Um, okay, okay, this is an interesting question. Do you have some information on the how does the solution increase the candidate application rate? You mentioned this a little bit at the beginning, and I know you mentioned College Recruiter in terms of quality of candidates, but can you share a little bit more over as to the findings you've had of conversion rates for candidates applying?
That's a good question. So if you think about the times when you're looking for a product at a store and you don't find what you need, you just leave. And so the same concept happens when you're looking for information. Improving the relevance of search results increases the likelihood that candidates will find the jobs on your site. And the added benefit is it eliminates the noise of irrelevant jobs that causes them to leave your site. So this means that candidates can quickly find what they're looking for on your site. And so this increases engagement and leads to increased clicks and applies. And so by taking advantage of our featured jobs functionality, you can prioritize jobs that are particularly relevant to your candidates and increase application rates for those roles.
Okay, and in terms of, so we talked about the candidates, that's improving the candidate experience because they're finding jobs that they may not have found before. But in terms of the customer experience then, so the people that are either as a job board as a customer or as the advertisers on the job board, do you see how does that benefit them?
So the job content itself is from your site where you're inserting data into a private tenant on the Google Cloud platform. And this happens through an identity and access management system. So this means that the data is not shared between clients and you have control as to who has access to your data.
Okay. And actually talking about job content, Jen, do you provide job content for the job board? So if you're an early startup and you're looking to build the content on your site, is that something that you do?
So as I mentioned earlier, no, the content itself is just directly from your site. And so none of the data is like shared between tenants. And so this is just specific from your site. And so you own the data and that data is inserted into Google Cloud Platform.
Okay, that's fine. Well, that's a good segue for me to say that JobGate can help them with content. So, okay. So we talked a little bit about costs. So so you mentioned that you provide 10,000 queries a month free. And so is that something that is just in the short term while you're launching this? Or that is
No,
actually your rate
it's
card?
it's ongoing. So every company has a different way of like so you know, every company has its different volumes for each month, and it really varies. So for the first 10,000 job search queries each month, it's free, and that's every month. So if you're under 10,000 queries for any given month, you won't be charged for those months. And if you're over that, we charge per query and discount by volume. So for small job boards, as in the example I provided earlier, the service can cost as little as $270 a month. And for larger job boards with more than 10 million queries per month on their sites, you can contact our team at cloudtalentsolution@google.com to discuss the next steps. And as I mentioned earlier, our team is on the other side, so someone will get back to you in 48 hours.
Okay, that's great. And the different services that you mentioned, so while we're talking about pricing and you charge per API call, um, is it different APIs for, you talked about the job snippet and the commute search. Is that all within one pricing point? or are they separate?
So there's separate API calls for Commute search, and there's a separate API call for the search request. So it really depends on how you're sending these search requests, because what it really is it's just a different configuration set to set up these different responses. And so for the smart text snippets, that actually gets returned with all the search requests. So you actually don't have to pay for that. So what you do pay for is essentially the exact search request that you configure and then send into the API.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, this is an interesting question that I've heard, when we've been at the summits, we've talked to people. A lot of people want to understand, does it help the job boards get a better position on search?
No. So Cloud Talent Solution was built specifically to be used by developers of job boards and company career sites, applicant tracking systems, and other job search sites. So the use of the product has no impact on ranking within Google search.
Okay, that's great. I do hear that question quite a lot. And the other question I hear is, how do I get my jobs onto Google search?
So I'm sure you're all aware of the job search capabilities on Google search. And just a reminder that these are separate products, and Cloud Talent Solution does not influence Google search at all. And that said, instructions for how to integrate and ensure your jobs are eligible for search are available for everyone at Google's Webmaster Guidelines. And these guidelines will show you how to mark up your jobs so that they can be indexed, and it's all free. Just go to jobs.google.com to learn more.
That's great. And I've got one more question before we wrap up, because we wanted to keep this to 45 minutes. So and the final one, is AI like this going to displace jobs in the industry?
You know, I get this question a lot. And Harvard recently conducted a study where they look at hundreds of jobs in the 1950s, and only one job has been eliminated due to automation. Luis, can you try to guess what job it was?
No, I have no idea. Thanks for
It
putting me on
was
the spot there.
sorry about that, but it was elevator operator. But even though that job was technically eliminated, all the responsibilities and tasks could not be automated because an elevator operator didn't just pull a large lever. They also monitored security, greeted guests, and delivered packages. So those responsibilities were then shifted to other jobs like a receptionist or a security guard. And at the end of the day, the role couldn't even be fully replaced by automation. So if you look ahead, new jobs will be created in areas that we can't even imagine yet. Like, who could have imagined flight attendants before commercial air travel, or social media consultants before the web? So it's important to remember that AI supplements a person's ability to assist them and not replace them.
It's great. Well, Jen, thank you so much for your time today and for answering our questions. I know there are more online questions that I've just not managed to get to. So we will make sure they're shared with Jen and her team after the webinar. And as I say, the team will be connecting with those of you with those questions. And for obviously, Jen's provided you with some links there that will take you to some more information with regards to integration and pricing. The recorded version of the webinar will actually also be sent out fairly quickly after the recording's finished, so you'll have that in your inboxes too, if you want to listen to some of the snippets again. But a huge thank you to everybody. So first of all, big thank you to you, Jen, for joining us today. It's been really insightful. And thank you to the audience, because we had a great uptake of registration for the webinar, and I hope you found it really informative. And hopefully we'll be doing some more soon. So thank you, everybody else, and good evening to you all.